General Musharraf has suspended the constitution of Pakistan. So we basically got martial law in the country, and this is a big setback for the cause of democracy. It's a big setback for the cause of moderation in the country, and I'm very disappointed.
But what we heard from President Musharraf was that he precisely to save democracy and to save stability in his country, which is being taken over by extremism, he had to do this.
There are two different issues here. One is the issue of extremism, and one is the issue of democracy. I disagree with the notion that General Musharraf did this to save democracy because he suspended the constitution. So now we have a government by force, and he has suspended the constitution in his capacity as Chief of the Army Staff. His promulgation reads that I, General Pervez Musharraf, Chief of the Army Staff, proclaim emergency throughout Pakistan, and the constitution shall remain in abeyance. So we don't have democracy now, we have martial law. On extremism, I share his concerns, but I don't share the solution. I believe dictatorship feeds off extremism, and extremism feeds off dictatorship.
Ms. Bhutto, what does this mean for the elections that you're running in January?
I understand that with the constitution in suspension, the elections will not be held. And my reports from inside the government indicate that they are planning to defer the holding of the elections at least for 1 year and most probably for 2 years. This is a very bad sign. And they also want to take advantage of events in the United States of America. The U.S. has presidential elections next year. They will have a new administration settling in the year later. So for 2 years, if we have emergency and dictatorship, I'm afraid it will just allow the extremists to take advantage, and they will attack not only my people, but also NATO troops in nearby Afghanistan.
So what actions will you take? What are your options?
Well, I'm going to be meeting with leaders of other political parties to discuss with them how we can build public pressure for the restoration of democracy in our country, for the restoration of our constitution, and the restoration of our judges who have been sacked from the judiciary, as well as the holding of fair elections. I believe it is in Washington's interest also to side with the people of the country. I welcome the statement that has been given by Secretary of State Rice on her disappointment on the imposition of emergency in the country. I believe the State Department has said that the U.S. is deeply disturbed by these reports. So we welcome that, and I think it's important to use U.S. leverage to get General Musharraf to restore the Constitution and hold elections.
But it seems that the U.S. does not have much leverage, does it? Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice had asked that a state of emergency not be declared, that they had been supporting you in your negotiations with President Musharraf. Now they're saying that they want democracy restored, but President Musharraf made it clear that Pakistan comes first, and what he thinks is good for the country comes first, and everything else comes second.
I understand that General Musharraf says that what he thinks good for the country must come first, but I'm afraid one-man solutions don't work. And it's wrong for General Musharraf to arrogate to himself what's right for Pakistan. This is a decision that must be taken by the people of Pakistan and taken in a fair, free, and impartial election. I agree with General Musharraf that there is the threat of an extremist takeover, but my concern is that this expansion in extremism has taken place through an administration and a regime which surrounds him. And unless there is regime change in Pakistan, the extremists are going to continue to expand.
Now, you said, you said, I'm sorry to interrupt you said that you will get together with other opposition leaders to try to put public pressure. But how are you going to do this? You yourself came back a few weeks ago and you survived an assassination attack against your life.
Well, yes, the risks are there, and I know that the risks will continue to be there. But I think it's very important for us to try and save Pakistan. And I think from an extremist takeover. And I think Pakistan can only be saved if democracy is restored. I fear for the future of my country. Pakistan is facing the real threat of a takeover by radical Islamist elements who have grown in strength and stature in the last 5 years. Just this week, a militant leader held an open press conference in the tribal areas of Pakistan, and there wasn't a single police, there wasn't a single security official to go and arrest him. There was no military to come and capture him. So there's a collapse of internal security, and unless we can restore the authority of government, I'm afraid things will get worse. General Musharraf, by suspending the constitution, has made many people, including myself, more pessimistic about the country's future.
I was just speaking in the past hour with Imran Khan, another opposition leader, and he told me that he had just been placed under house arrest. There was police inside his home.
I'm very sorry to hear that Imran Khan and other people have been arrested. In fact, I have called for the restoration of the constitution, for the restoration of the rule of law, as well as for the release of all the political prisoners. I don't know whether my party and I are going to be immune from these arrests, but we feel that by arresting political leaders, we are going even further away from democratic ideals. We're going further away from the strengthening of political parties, the strengthening of the judiciary. The judiciary, political parties, and the press are actually the institutions that help create a tolerant and pluralistic society. We are attacking the basis of a tolerant and pluralistic society by taking these measures against civil institutions.
Ms. Bhutto, I'd like you to react to a statement taken from the address of President Musharraf just a few hours ago explaining his actions. Let's listen in.
Pakistan is on the verge of destabilization. If not arrested in time, now, without losing any further time or delaying the issue.
So what is your response to what we just heard from President Musharraf?
I agree totally with General Musharraf that Pakistan is on the verge of destabilization. I agree with the diagnosis, but I don't agree with the cure. I believe Pakistan's on the verge of destabilization because of continued dictatorship, because the general elections of 2002, which were manipulated, produced a government that has simply failed to respond to the needs of the people and that has presided over the rise of extremism. And those people were to go home in these elections. Now, General Musharraf has given the supporters and the sympathizers in the regime of the militants a new lease of life. He has extended their tenure, and that is what worries me, that while we agree on the problem, his solution of continuing with the ruling party is the wrong one.
So are you going to be meeting with him?
Well, there are no meeting is on the cards, and I'm not sure that he would like to meet me after what I've said on CNN. But if he does want to meet me, I would certainly meet him and tell him that it's very important for him to restore the Constitution, restore the rule of law, release the political prisoners, and to reverse the step that he has taken today.
One more question, Ms. Bhutto. Are you going to stay in Pakistan, given the situation?
Yes, I plan to stay in Pakistan. I feel that the people of Pakistan need my presence over here as an encouragement to them, and I plan to stay here in Pakistan.